Hi everyone, my name is Sydney Rimmer and I did my presentation on China's judicial and legal system. Beginning with a little introduction about me, my name is Sydney Rimmer. I am a junior with a political science and communications majors and also a public relations minor, and I chose this topic as I intend to go to law school, and this gave me a unique opportunity to compare the US judicial and legal system to a foreign system and really facilitated my understanding of both of them. Each country has specific historical and individual attributes that aid in the explanation of why they chose the system of governance that they did. An important and often overlooked aspect of many countries is their judicial and legal structures. An area of overlap between the United States and China is their increased trade activity, where American businesses conducting business in China seek the same legal protection they would receive in the US. While this has influenced similarities between the two systems, it is imperative to continue to utilize other countries and their differences as a case study to improve American system and to improve their systems as well. One core difference between China and the US is that China operates using a civil law system rather than a common law system. The civil law system refers to codified laws, which are an ordered grouping of legal principles enacted into law by legislator or other governing body, where the only official source of law is statutory code. The civil code ideally sets all of the principles that are necessary for the legal system. The courts then interpret these codes and apply the rules to individual cases, and the courts are unable to depart from the code and develop their own laws. Whereas in the US system, they also have codes and regulations, but they follow the common law system. In this system, the courts independently develop the rules that govern specific areas of the law, which then apply to all areas that are not already covered by codes, regulations, or laws. In the US system, there's not a specific statutory law that defends a party, and the judge is still able to award compensation, whereas in a civil law system, the party would have no avenue to compensation without the law. Judges in the civil law system are at liberty to ask questions and examine witnesses, unlike the common law system, where judges act as a referee to manage the courtroom and processes of the attorneys. China's legal system is still relatively new as compared to many other countries. Modern China did not have any new law programs in universities until the late 1970s and did not have any trained lawyers until the early 1980s. As you'll see on the screen, there are a few statistics that compare the US and China as to the amount of active attorneys they have. You will also notice that schooling to become a lawyer in China is much easier than in the US. China offers a 3-year law program followed by 1 to 2 years of working experience in the legal field before being eligible to take the examination to become a certified lawyer that's offered twice a year. In the US, however, becoming a lawyer requires 7 total years, including 4 years of undergraduate study followed by 3 years of law school, and this doesn't even include the bar. In China, there's a large bit of administrative interference from the CCP, otherwise known as the Chinese Communist Party, and it lacks neutrality. The Chinese legal system does not have an independent legal or judicial system in place that operates outside of the CCP. In contrast, the judicial branch in the US acts as a checks and balances system for the other branches of government. This means there's no effective way in China for someone who's wronged by the government to receive a fair trial due to the influence of the CCP. The Chinese government approves all of the court appointments. Judges are loyal to the Chinese Communist Party rather than the people of China, and the Chinese government has a hand in each of the courts in China. This includes the basic people's courts, the intermediate people's courts, the higher people's courts, and the supreme people's courts, and thus has the power to intervene in all deliberations and overturn verdicts, as well as bend the rules of interpretation of its laws. China as an independent country. As China is a sovereign and independent country, it has the right to make and enforce the laws within its borders. It has the right to try foreigners as well as its own citizens, which means that anyone who breaks the law while in China is subject to prosecution under their legal system. A U.S. passport will not earn any special privileges to circumnavigate this, and you will not be tried under the U.S. legal system or extradited back to the U.S. If a person not from China is sentenced to prison by the Chinese court, the sentence will be served in China. As for policy propositions, the United States Chief Justice John Roberts may be able to have an influence on the Chinese judicial and legal systems to further the mirroring of the American judicial and legal system. This is important as trade relations with China are indeed prominent, and U.S. citizens are subject to Chinese courts. So, if a U.S. citizen is tried in China, the most fair trial should take place. The strong influence from the CCP makes trials appear to be unfair. As their legal system is still very young as compared to America and has limited schooling for lawyers, there may be some room for suggestions from the U.S. Changing China to a common law system rather than a civil law system could also benefit the U.S. as it more properly mirrors the United States system. Thank you all so much for taking time to listen to my presentation. I wish you luck in all of your presentations, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.